For what purpose are the great sages causing trouble in our nether region? I had to pass through the state of Western Liang, replied our great sage, because I was accompanying the Tang monk on his way to procure scriptures in the western heaven. We reached a mountain shortly thereafter, where brigands attempted to rob my master. Old Monkey slaughtered a few of them, but my master took offense and banished me. I went instead to the Bodhisattva at South Sea to make known my difficulties. I have no idea how this monster spirit got wind of it, but somehow he changed into my likeness, struck down my master in mid-journey, and robbed him of his luggage. My younger brother, Sha Monk, went to my native mountain to demand the wraps, but this fiend falsely claimed that he wished to go to seek scriptures in the western heaven in the name of master. Fleeing to South Sea, Sha Monk informed the Bodhisattva when I was standing right there. The Bodhisattva then told me to go with him to look for myself at the Flower Fruit Mountain, and I discovered that indeed my old lair was occupied by this fellow. I strove with him until we reached the place of the Bodhisattva, but in truth his appearance, his speech, and the like are exactly like mine. Even the Bodhisattva found it hard to distinguish us. Then we fought our way up to heaven, and the gods couldn't tell us apart. We next went to see my master, and when he recited the tight fillet spell to test us, this fellow's head hurt just like mine. That's why we brawled down to the nether region, in hopes that you rulers of darkness will examine for me the register of life and death and determine what is the origin of the specious pilgrim. Snatch away his soul at once, so that there will not be the confusion of two minds. After he finished speaking, the fiend also repeated what he said in exactly the same manner. On hearing this, the rulers of darkness summoned the judge in charge of the register to examine it from the beginning, but there was, of course, nothing written down that had the name Specious Pilgrim. He then studied the volume on hairy creatures, but the 130-some entries under the name Monkey, you see, had already been crossed out by the great sage Sun with one stroke of the brush, in that year when he caused great havoc in the region of darkness after he had attained the way. Ever since that time, the name of any species of monkey was not recorded in the register. After he finished examining the volume, he went back to the hall to make his report. Picking up their court tablets to show their solemn intentions, the rulers of darkness said to both of the pilgrims, "Great sages, there is nowhere in the nether region for you to look up the impostor's name. You must seek discrimination in the world of light." Hardly had they finished speaking when the Bodhisattva Ktagarbha said, "Wait a moment. Wait a moment. Let me ask investigative hearing to listen for you." That investigative hearing, you see, happens to be a beast that usually lies beneath the desk of Ktagarbha. When he crouches on the ground, he can in an instant perceive the true and the false, the virtuous and the wicked among all short-haired creatures, scaly creatures, hairy creatures, winged creatures, and crawling creatures, and among all the celestial immortals, the earthly immortals, the divine immortals, the human immortals, and the spirit immortals resident in all the cave heavens and blessed lands in the various shrines, rivers, and mountains of the four great continents. In obedience, therefore, to the command of Ktagarbha, the beast prostrated himself in the courtyard of the Hall of Darkness, and in a little while, he raised his head to say to his master, "I have the name of the fiend, but I cannot announce it in his presence. Nor can we give assistance in capturing him." "What would happen?" asked Ktagarbha, "if you were to announce his name?" "I fear then," replied investigative hearing, "that the monster spirit might unleash his violence to disturb our treasure hall and ruin the peace of the office of darkness." "But why?" asked his master again. "Can't we give assistance in capturing him?" Investigative hearing said, "The magic power of that monster spirit is no different from the great sage Sun's. How much power do the gods of the nether region possess? That's why we cannot capture him." "How, then, shall we do away with him?" asked Ktagarbha. Investigative hearing answered, "The power of Buddha is limitless." Waking up all at once, Ktagarbha said to the two pilgrims, "Your forms are like a single person, and your powers are exactly the same. If you want clear distinction between the two of you, you must go to the Thunderclap Monastery, the abode of Sakyamuni. You are right. You are right, shouted both of them in unison. We'll go to have this thing set led before the Buddhist patriarch in the Western Heaven. The rulers of darkness of all 10 chambers accompanied them out of the hall before they thanked K. Itagarbha, who returned to the Jade Cloud Palace. The ghost attendants were then told to close up the fortified passes of the nether region, and we shall leave them for the moment. Look at those two pilgrims. Soaring on cloud and darting on fog, they fought their way up to the Western Heaven, and we have a testimonial poem. The poem says, "If one has two minds, disasters he'll breed. He'll guess and conjecture, both far and near. He seeks a good horse, or the Three Dukes' office, or the seat of first rank there in golden chimes. He'll war unceasing in the north and south. He'll not keep still assailing both east and west. You must learn of no mind in the gate of Chun. And let the holy babe be formed thus quietly." Tugging and pulling at each other, the two of them brawled in midair as they proceeded, and finally they reached the Thunderclap Treasure Monastery on the Spirit Vulture Mountain in the Great Western Heaven. At that time, the 4 great Bodhisattvas, the 8 great Diamond Kings, the 500 Arhats, the 3,000 Guardians of the Faith, the Mendicant Nuns and the Mendicant Monks, the Upasakas and the Upasikas, all this holy multitude was gathered beneath the lotus seat of 7 jewels to listen to a lecture by Tathagata. His discourse had just reached the point on the existent in the non-existent, the non-existent in the non-non-existent, the form in the formlessness, the emptiness in the non-emptiness. For the non-existent is the existent, and the non-non-existent is the non-existent. Formlessness is verily form. Non-emptiness is verily emptiness. Emptiness is indeed emptiness. Form is indeed form. Form has no fixed form. Thus form is emptiness. Emptiness has no fixed emptiness. Thus emptiness is form. The knowledge of emptiness is not emptiness. The knowledge of form is not form. When names and action mutually illuminate, then one has reached the wondrous sound. As the multitude bowed their heads in submission and chanted in unison these words of the Buddha, Tathagata caused celestial flowers to descend upon them in profusion. Then he said to the congregation, "You are all of one mind, but take a look at 2 minds in competition and strife arriving here." When the congregation looked up, there were indeed 2 pilgrims locked in a clamorous battle as they approached the noble region of Thunderclap. The 8 great Diamond Kings were so aghast that they went forward to bar the way, crying, "Where do you 2 think you are going?" "A monster spirit," replied our great sage, "has assumed my appearance. I want to go below the Treasure Lotus platform and ask Tathagata to make distinction between us." The Diamond Kings could not restrain them, and the 2 monkeys brawled up to the platform. "Your disciple," said our great sage as he knelt before the Buddhist patriarch, "was accompanying the Tang monk to journey to your treasure mountain and to beg you for true scriptures. I have exerted I don't know how much energy on our way in order to smelt demons and bind fiends. Some time ago, we ran into some bandits trying to rob us, and in truth, your disciple on 2 occasions did take a few lives. Master took offense and banished me, refusing to allow me to bow with him to the golden form of Tathagata. I had no choice but to flee to South Sea and tell Guanyin of my woes. Little did I anticipate that this monster spirit would falsely assume my voice and my appearance and then strike down Master, taking away even our luggage. My younger brother, Wu Jing, followed him to my native mountain, only to be told by the crafty words of this fiend that he had another true monk ready to be the scripture pilgrim. Wu Jing managed to escape to South Sea to inform Guanyin of everything. Whereupon the Bodhisattva told your disciple to return with Wu Jing to my mountain, as a result of which the 2 of us fought our way to South Sea, and then to the Celestial Palace. We went also to see the Tang monk as well as the rulers of darkness, but no one could tell us apart. For this reason I make bold to come here, and I beg you in your great compassion to fling wide the great gate of means. Grant unto your disciple your discernment of the right and the perverse, so that I may again accompany the Tang monk to bow to your golden form in person, acquire the scriptures to bring back to the land of the East, and forever exalt the great faith." What the congregation heard was one statement made by two mouths in exactly the same voice, and none of them could distinguish between the two pilgrims. Tathagata, however, was the only one who had the perception. He was about to make his revelation when a pinkish cloud floating up from the south brought to them Guanyin, who bowed to the Buddha. Pressing his palms together, our Buddha said, "Guanyin, the honored one, can you tell which is the true pilgrim, and which is the false one? They came to your disciples' humble region the other day," replied the Bodhisattva. "But I truly could not distinguish between them.